everybody, and welcome to the midweek edition of the Chicago Sports Podcast. We are the Monsters of the Madhouse, the voice of the fan, and we're going to talk a little bit about my boy that's going to be missing this week, Jaquan Brisker, break down this Bears-Jaguars game across the pond, and hang out with two of my buddies, Darius and Kyle. And, of course, this is all brought to you in part by our friends at Bridges Scoreboard at your Northwest Indiana Chicago sports headquarters with the Hall of Fame menu and the coldest beer in Chicagoland. To prep for your next party, call Bridges or visit bridgesscoreboard.com or call 219-924-2206. Boys, we're missing our leading tackler. He's tied with TJ Edwards at 40 tackles on the year. He's also been doing some impressive stuff on the line, knocking trembles out, doing all types of fun stuff. How, in your guys' opinion, how does this affect the Bears in this particular game, especially over the middle and some of the things that this guy does around the line of scrimmage and in his coverage skills? What do you got, Darius? Start us off, buddy.
As they say in sports, it sounds cliche, but it's true. It's the next man. It's the next man up. It's unfortunate for Brisker because he's really been coming on the last few games, and it looks like he was preparing to have a heck of a season. And like I said, it's unfortunate. I hope he gets well soon. And we're really gonna need him this game. But I do like the safety depth that we have. I like the depth that we have at safety. Those two guys in the preseason. I know, a lot of people don't look at the preseason, but for depth purposes, this is important, right? So the preseason, those guys, they tackled well. They read their keys, they understood the assignments, and they played well all throughout. That's Hicks and Simone Bowles' husband. I hate to say that.
Jonathan Owens.
Yeah, I had to get one in. Everybody else said, but I hate when they do my boy like that. It's Jonathan Owens, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people say Mr. Bowles and all that. Nah, man. It's Jonathan Owens, man. Nah, but listen, I trust the depth, I trust the scheme. I'm sure those guys are gonna come in prepared. So, it's like I said, it's unfortunate that we're losing a key starter, but it's the next man up.
Kyle?
Yeah, I agree with Darius. I mean, it's certainly not good to lose one of your best players. Jaquan Brisker has been absolutely amazing this year. He's definitely having his best season as a pro, no doubt about it. Just in the last 2 weeks, the interception on the game against the Rams, and then just last week when he knocked Tremble out and forced the fumble, he obviously knocked himself out as well. But, I mean, he's definitely hard to replace. But I think if you look at the Bears' defense as a whole, the safety and cornerbacks right now are probably where they are the deepest. So I think it'd be the easiest to replace one of those guys because they're certainly not deep at the defensive line, and I don't believe they're deep at linebacker either. I don't really know much about their backup linebackers, but I would certainly hate to lose somebody like Tremaine Edmonds or Montez Sweat more than Brisker, but it still hurts, man. Another cliche statement like Darius was talking about is, you're only as good as your weakest link. So if somebody comes in to back them up and they don't play well, then the Bears, they're going to be exposed at times for sure. But ultimately, I do think I like Jonathan Owens as well. I like Elijah Hicks as well. I think for 1 week, as long as it's not a long-term injury, I think the Bears will be all right.
Yeah, the thing that kind of caught me off guard was when we signed Jonathan Owens. I thought he was going to be the premier top backup at the safety, either free or strong. And obviously, I mean, Elijah Hicks last year, I think we looked it up. He had a 65 rating on PFF. Wasn't terrible, wasn't great, but I thought that signing Jonathan Owens was, a step up. I mean, he did start for that team up north last year for a bunch of games, so he has that experience. For me, overall, I don't. As long as the Bears generate a pass rush, I don't know that it affects us too much. I mean, the Bears are in the top 7 in every statistical category on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think you can find one that they're not. And
rushing yards per game.
Yeah, I guess you're right there.
They're number 18 in the NFL. And Sean, to your point about Elijah Hicks.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I'm sorry, man. To your point, just real quick, to your point about Elijah Hicks, he had I think it was like a 62 PFF rating last year.
Yeah.
He was also a rookie last year, man. I mean, just like we've seen this progression from Javon Dexter, you expect to see the same from Elijah Hicks. He might play better this year than he did last year. And we've talked about this before. Anytime the Bears have an injury, it's always rotation, guys. You're going to see both of them. You're going to see both Elijah Hicks and Jonathan Owens at some point in that game. So it's not like Elijah Hicks is going to be on the field for every single snap. I think ultimately the Bears will probably play who's ever playing their best that day will probably end up getting more playing time. But I still have faith in Elijah Hicks. The jury's not out yet. Sorry, Darius, I didn't mean to interrupt you, man.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I think it's gonna be pivotal this week because this week we're going to face a team that's going to really come at us with a run game.
Yeah.
They have two nice backs over there with Etienne and young Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
Missing Brisker this week, I think will be, more be more key than other weeks. Well, just saying if we were facing a more passing team. But this week they're going to try to take pressure off of the quarterback, and they're going to run the ball heavy because the word out on us, the way to attack us is through the run.
Yeah. And speaking of Tank Bigsby here, Kyle and I touched on this a little bit earlier on our last show. Guy's averaging 8 yards per carry right now. He's averaging 6.5 yards after contact, which is first in the league. And his elusive score is 332, which is first among running backs in the league. I mean, to use the word absolutely explosive and electric for Tank Bigsby is exactly what he's been. And he's ripping off chunk yardage, too, with these. Travis Etienne might be a little banged up with that shoulder. I know he tried to go last week, and, it really gave him a problem. So we'll see. I think he practiced limitedly today, but if we could lose one of those guys, I think that would help us just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also the only thing I will say in defense of that is if you watch Jaquan Brisker this year, he's obviously been a very good player in the NFL. He's by far playing the best football he's ever played, but he also has missed some angles in this season. Actually, that gap last week was just to fill when Chuba Hubbard ran for that 38-yard touchdown. That was Jaquan Brisker took a terrible angle there. He missed that tackle. That play should not have happened. It still would have been a large gain because Brisker was a little bit late getting over, and sometimes that happens when you're trying to stop the pass. But that should have been a touchdown. And I'm not saying that losing Jaquan Brisker is good. Obviously, it's not. But you expect mistakes like that from these guys coming up. It's not like they haven't been happening already. I mean, I think losing Jaquan Brisker stinks for the Bears because he's a ball hawk and he's a very instinctive player. But ultimately, that's probably the best case scenario for the Bears in defense because, at some point you're going to sustain injuries. It happens to every team in the NFL. I'd rather it be Brisker than, like I said, Montez Sweat, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, any of those guys, man. Those guys. And that's not to say he's not as important as those guys. But, man, who's backing up Montez Sweat? I don't even know who would be in that rotation.
Austin Booker.
Yeah, I mean it's not as much as I like him. It's not time to throw him into the fire just yet.
Yeah, and this is a situation to really see what we made of, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We'll see how strong this chain is, even though it's missing a link.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
The other thing that I'm not too worried about, but a little worried was Spider-Man popped up on the injury report today with a heel issue. Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that that's nothing serious because being down Brisker and Gordon, now you're starting to get a little leaky. So flipping to the other side of the ball, man, I'm on the train that I think Caleb Williams is going to take off right where he left off last week, man. I'd like to see a little bit more of those block and go backside post passes that he hit DJ on that second touchdown. I'd like to see more play action or continue play action, but I'd like to also keep that balance that they've had the last couple of weeks. I think that's been really nice. Keep that going. I think they're going to get Jacksonville right where we want them. I understand they have Big Brian Thomas on the outside and Christian Kirk. And we talked about this too a little bit. I think Christian Kirk scares me a lot more in this game because he knows how to sit down in the flat, in the zone, wherever, and find that spot and catch that ball. Christian Kirk scares me in this game a lot. On the Jacksonville side, outside of Tank Bigsby, what concerns you guys the most? Jacksonville's offense attacking the Bears' defense.
Go ahead, Darius.
Oh. Cal or me, which one?
No, it doesn't matter.
Go ahead, Darius.
Okay, I'll go. Well, Trevor Lawrence is a concern. And he does have weapons. He knows how to utilize, all three levels of the field. and his stats right now may not be the greatest. And a lot of games, a lot of games this season been pretty ugly. But you have to respect what what I'm saying, what he's shown in the past. You know, but you got, like I said, you got to respect Trevor Lawrence. And the key word for this weekend should be discipline. For the guys up front, we got to maintain gap integrity, and for those guys, on the outside, the secondary, we have to respect those weapons that he has.
Yeah, 100%. Agree 100%. What you got, Kyle? What scares you the most?
Yeah, I mean, what scares me the most about this game is it's just. I'm sorry, man. I hate to say it. I'll say it again. It's not a good matchup for the Bears. And it's just statistically, if you look at the two teams, the Bears are not good at, the Jaguars are good at, and that's not good for the Bears. I mean, you look at the Bears run offense right now, they're ranked 29 out of 32 in the league. They're running the ball 95.4 yards per game. That's not good in the NFL, guys, especially where it's a league where the rules are now favoring the offense. And then you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, and they're 8th in the NFL against the rush. So it's just, they're only allowing 105.6 rushing yards per game. I do expect the Bears at some point to abandon the run. I hope it's not early, because if it is, then this game could spell disaster. I mean, you have to commit to the run, even if it's the 3 yards a carry you're getting. It doesn't matter. But that's scary. And then, Sean, like you said, I mean, you look at the Bears' run defense, they're ranked 18th in the NFL, so kind of in the middle of the pack. They give up about 120 yards per game. I mean, if right now, Tank Bigsby, if you look at his statistics, I know he's only carried the ball 34 times, and it's a small sample size, but he's running for 273 yards, and that would be at 8 yards a clip. I mean, that's absolutely insane.
I was going to say those 34 carries.
Yeah, man, he can get he could get the team down the field in 4 plays and score a touchdown if he keeps running for 8 yards a carry. Man. But it's just not. Unfortunately, that matchup right there is not good for the Bears. Another thing that's not good for the Bears is, as poor as Trevor Lawrence has looked this year, he has not looked good. The team is not good. They're 1-4 to start the season. He's only thrown 2 interceptions. The Bears, they make their living off taking the ball away from teams and scoring. So they're going to have to do something here. They're going to have to find a way to get him on the ground, get him uncomfortable, and start making mistakes, because there's nobody better in the NFL at taking advantage of those mistakes than the Chicago Bears. Right now on the season, the Jaguars' opponents have 11 sacks. So it's not like their offensive line's been terrible. The Bears are going to have to find a way to change that.
Yeah.
Well, when you get into this and you start looking at that Bears defense as we're talking about it, they have an 11-game streak right now of averaging 15.5 points per game. And through 5 games this year, 17 points they've allowed over to. That's a pretty dominant stretch. Now, let me ask you this. You think that this attack from Jacksonville is going to be able to eclipse that 17-point mark? Because the one thing that I know is the Jaguars have given up the most yards. They're giving up the most yards per play in the league. So they're going to have to outshoot the Bears. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. I don't know if they're going to be able to get up to 17. What do you guys think? Kyle?
Well, Sean, I think it's going to be easier for them to get up to that point. I don't think the Bears are going to have an easy time passing the ball if they can't run and the Jaguars know they're going to pass the ball. I mean, I'm not saying that they won't have a good game, but they're not going to be like the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL if they know every single time the Bears snap the ball, Caleb Williams is going to drop back and pass. They're going to look better than they normally do. The Bears have to establish somewhat of a run game. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to average 8 yards a carry like young Tank Bigsby we were just talking about, but you need to average at least 3.5, because if you don't, you're going to be in 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9, those types of situations. You don't want to be in those, because then they know what you're doing. They're going to know what you're doing every single time. I mean, ultimately, the Bears are better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, you can look at the record. The record speaks for itself. But, Sean, I agree with you. We're going to need a big game for Caleb Williams today. I talked about this earlier. It's not – we have won, and Caleb Williams has been a contributor to us winning each game we've won. But this might be one of those games where he has to almost win it by himself. I mean, he has to put this team on his shoulders and win it, because if they can't run the ball, which Jacksonville has not let anybody do this year. I mean, they're 8th in the NFL right now. We're 5 games in now, guys. That's not a small sample size. They obviously have a good defensive line. I mean, Josh Allen is having a terrible season right now, but you expect that guy to turn around at some point. And then Trayvon Walker looks like the first overall pick in 2022, like he was. He's got 5 sacks on the season. He's got a ton of tackles for loss, He's having an absolutely monumental season. You have to find a way to control that guy as well. This is going to be a very interesting game for the Bears. I think the Bears ultimately will end up winning this game, but it's not going to be a blowout.
Nah, not at all. And I 100% agree with you, Cal. this is not going to be a walk in the park. Jacksonville plays well. Usually, they play well when they go to London. You know, it's like a home game for them,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to be it's supposed to be a home game for us, correct? But
Yeah.
this is
I mean,
going to be
real quick, Darius, to your point, since 2013, the Jaguars have played in London 11 times. Since 2011, the Bears have played there twice. The Bears have a record of 1-1 in London. The Jags 6-5. The Jaguars are actually 7-5 overseas. They seem to be more comfortable there than they are in Jacksonville.
yeah. Listen, this could be a week, and like Kyle said, this could be a week that the offense, well, the defense is going to have to depend on the offense to
Yeah.
you know, to be their shoulder to lean on. You know, we're missing a wheel. So, you know, it's time for, you know, at least this game, it's time for the offense to carry the defense this game. You know, not saying that the defense is just gonna underperform, but you know, we may need a little extra help because Jacksonville is gonna come in with a game plan. They're going to try to dictate the style of this game.
Mhm.
And you know, our offense is going to have to, you know what I'm saying, convert that, you know what I'm saying, convert that over and you know what I'm saying, take that power away from them.
Yeah.
As far as you know, as far as Tank Bisbee, I'm very familiar with him. He's a Georgia kid. I watched him in high
Oh,
school, and you know he was a
he's
real deal
legit.
then. He was a real deal then, and he's really developing now. I'm glad to see him, you know, taking the next
Nice.
step and becoming a reputable back in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I 1,000% agree with Cal, man. You know,
I
it's
think
just
one thing that's going to
time.
be really important for the Bears in this game is exactly what they did last week. And Caleb Williams seemed very comfortable in the no huddle offense. Get to the line, get the ball moving. Don't let them get set. Keep them on their heels. They were no huddle 36% last week. I would say bumped it up to 40, 42
Yeah.
maybe this week.
And I love it. It's not even a no huddle. It's like a half huddle, what they call a muddle huddle in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, huddle.
They are getting together, but they're just doing it really quickly and going back to the line of scrimmage. There's probably only a limited certain amount of plays he's allowed to call right there, just because Caleb Williams is so young, he doesn't know the playbook like most veterans do. So they probably give him 2 or 3 plays on every next snap. But I love it, man. Sean, I think he looks comfortable there. He looks like that's the way he played in college, and he wants to keep when he's in a rhythm, he doesn't want to stop. And you can see him sometimes doing like the let's go, like let's keep going. We got him on their heels. Let's go. But I don't know, man. This is just one of those games. You know, I said it before the season started when we did the record prediction. This was one of those games where it's just kind of a trap game to me, just because, like Darius said, you know, this is like a home away from home for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They love playing in London. They're probably going to end up playing in London more than any other team in NFL history, in the NFL for the rest of the time, because their owner has ties to that city, that stadium. But this is not an ideal situation for the Bears. I said this earlier on the 4 Stars podcast. I would rather them played Jacksonville week 3 and Indianapolis week 5. I think that would have been better for the Bears. Because Jacksonville in the last 2 games has started to turn around, guys. I mean, last week, Trevor Lawrence was 28 for 34 for 371 yards and 2 touchdowns. And like we said, Tank Bigsby has been absolutely amazing for the last 2 games. He looks like he is the real deal. He should probably be their number 1 running back. And then if you look at the last 3 games of Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas, 19 receptions, 16 receptions, 228 yards, 256 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. I mean, this offense is starting to get it together.
You got to remember this too, Kyle. In that last quarter last week, they were outscored Jacksonville 24-17 in that last quarter. Yeah. So that defense was either tired or they gave up. But I give you a little nugget that I forgot to touch on the last preview show. Jacksonville has lost 7 straight games to the NFC North. I don't know if that plays in a factor here.
Let's make it 8. Hey. Let's make it 8.
What'd you say?
Let's make it 8, man. I mean, listen, right. I'm not saying this is not a game the Bears can win. I have the Bears winning this game. I just think it's going to be tougher than people think. And I don't like those overseas games. I don't like any of them. I don't bet on them. There's always some weird, wonky stuff going on over there. I don't think these guys are used to waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start practicing. What would be 3 o'clock in the morning here, I guess, but not over there. It's just I hate those games. I wish the Bears didn't get these London games. I don't like them, but I would much rather than be playing at Soldier Field. I'm sure you guys would as well. This is considered a home game for the Bears. I don't think that's fair. I just don't like this. I understand what the NFL is doing. I get it. They're trying to expand their clientele, trying to expand their demographic to different countries, make more money. I get it. It's just I feel like it's unfair every time one of these teams gets one of these games, and it's just
Yeah,
I'd rather the Bears should win this game, guys, 100%, no doubt about it.
Yeah, the best thing that happened that we haven't touched on yet is the fact that they left early.
Yeah,
Yes.
You
yeah,
know, they left early. They're going to give themselves a chance to kind of get acclimated to the conditions and
Yep.
to the time change and everything else. So that's a cool thing, man. I can really respect that. You
I
know,
was,
I don't know who made that call, but I'm glad they did it.
yeah.
I was going to
I
say, if
agree.
you remember last time they played the Raiders, I think it was 5 years ago. They left on Thursday, and that game was
Yeah.
a disaster. So
Yeah, they all came out and said they couldn't adjust. They're like, we didn't adjust. We weren't in that schedule. And even 5 days, 6 days, that's still not a lot of time to adjust to a 6-hour time change. That's absurd.
Yeah,
But I mean, you look at the Jaguars defense, they're 32nd against the pass. I mean, they're hemorrhaging passing yards. This has to be the game. If Caleb Williams is the guy we think he is, and he looks like he did last week, the Bears are going to win this game, no problem. I just don't know how far along Caleb Williams is in his development because they played such an inferior opponent on Sunday. You don't know how good the Bears were as opposed to how bad the Panthers were. It was tough to decipher. The Panthers were banged up going to that game, and they got even more banged up in that game. They lost almost their whole offense at one point. It's just, I don't know, guys. There's just something about this game. I hate these games. They have weird vibes all over them. I don't like it. I don't know.
guys, make your sports memories timeless with Elite Icons Framing and Memorabilia. Give them a buzz. Email them at info@eliteicons.biz or give them a buzz at 630-863-0647. Do you guys feel like you want to make some predictions on a final score on this game? Because I think I'm going to be a little bit higher than the both of you.
I don't know, but I do think the no huddle situation is going to carry us throughout this whole year because it helps those guys up front tremendously.
Yeah.
You know, as we seen the struggles earlier a few weeks ago. This no huddle situation, it seems like they react better to this than huddling up and really, what I'm saying, sitting down there and attacking the guy in front of them. But this no huddle, like the no huddle situation, is big. As far as a score, 28-17, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be really close, Darius.
Well, that's a pretty good ass whooping.
Yeah. What you got, Kyle?
Like I said, man, I hope I'm wrong. This is one of those times where I honestly hope to God that I'm wrong. If Caleb Williams is if Caleb Williams does what he did against the Panthers last week for the next couple of weeks, whether these defenses are good or not, it doesn't matter. If he can sustain that type of playing, to have 300 yards, a couple touchdowns, then we could start talking about generational guys. I mean, for a rookie, that is with the way he played last week was great. He looked like a season better. He looked like Aaron Rodgers 5 years in his Green Bay Packers career. If he does that, the Bears win this game big. I don't know if that's going to happen just because the circumstances surrounding this game. I think that ultimately the Jaguars are going to stay in this. I think they're going to run the ball. I think they're going to do it successfully. I think Tank Bigsby's going to have a couple of touchdowns. I think ultimately the Bears will win this game 24-20.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think Caleb Williams lives for moments like this. National television, big stage, London, all eyes on him. I think this is exactly what this kid is built for. The Jaguars giving up the second most points in the league. They're giving up 6 yards of play. I think it's going to be, we're going to put on our bibs and they're just going to sit there and they're going to feast on this secondary.
I hope so.
I do. I think Caleb Williams is starting to get a grasp of what he's supposed to do. I love the play. I know Tevin Jenkins was limited today, but I love the play of Bill Murray last week. He was an absolute breath of fresh air on that line. Pryor has been an absolute beast since he's come in. I mean, we're watching maybe the best line that we've seen that played in the back half of that game last after Jenkins went out. And Jenkins wasn't having a bad game when he got hurt either. But I think the evolution of this team, and we said it a couple weeks ago, let's give Waldron a couple of weeks to put his fingers on this and see what he's got. You noticed Travis Homer's hurt, but DeAndre Carter's kind of disappeared. Gerald Everett made a couple appearances, but you got Cole Kmet on the field 86% of the time now. He's starting to figure it out. The Bears have more playmakers than Jacksonville. Jacksonville has some good ones, but we have more playmakers. We have more playmakers on defense. I think the Bears are going to take it to him. I do think Bigsby gets in the end zone. I will say that. I do think he's going to get in the because the Bears are, they're just giving up rushing touchdowns this year. I got the Bears 27-14. I think that hopefully they don't start off.
Well, you guys aren't far off at all.
I honestly think the Bears defense could shut them down here. I'll change that prediction. You still have Kevin Byard in the second at the safety. Mm-hmm. He's having a sensational year. You still have Jalen Johnson. Jalen Jones came in last week. He was the highest ranked player on PFF for the Bears. The secondary, yes, is going to take a dip without Brisker, but the defense as a whole is pretty damn good, and I just don't see Jacksonville as that good. So I think the Bears are going to take it to them. And I got 27-14 again.
Listen. The Bears have to stop the run and they have to run the ball. I know that sounds easy and it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, but that's what we're talking about. The two things that they're good at. It's just, I hate it. I just don't like ultimately the Bears are a better team than Jacksonville. If Caleb Williams goes off, we're going to kill him because they can't stop anybody passing the ball. But if they shut down that run to the point where the Bears abandon it at the end of the first quarter, like they did week 1, and all of a sudden, or against the Colts, and all of a sudden the Bears just start airing it out the entire game. He's going to throw interceptions. That's what happens when you put the ball in harm's way 40, 50 times a game. And this is going to be a game. Hopefully the Bears can just run the ball well enough to the point where the Jaguars have to commit to stopping the run. That's all you have to do. It's just they can't drop 2 safeties deep every single play, because if they do that, it's going to be long to Caleb Williams. And the Bears, they have to find a way to slow down Tank Bigsby. They have to.
I mean, like I said
last week, dumping short, quick.
Yeah. Discipline is going to be big this week. You know what I mean? You're going to have to, on the offensive end, you're going to have chances for big plays. Jacksonville all year long has been giving up big plays in the secondary because they're undisciplined.
Mm-hmm.
But, until that time comes, we have to maintain our discipline on offense. You know what I'm saying, Caleb? Just take what they give you until the big play opens up. And on defense, discipline is key because we have to maintain gap integrity because they're going to run. Mm-hmm. And Brian Thomas, if you sleep on him, he's a big, fast kid, and he can get open.
Don't let that guy get open over the top.
If they run the ball, they're going to control the pace of this game. And
we cannot allow them to dictate what's going to happen.
If that happens, if they're able to run the ball on the Bears, and they're getting first down after first down without passing it, the Bears cannot have any plays on offense at all. They're like pre-snap penalties, a 9-yard sack. Okay. They can't go backwards because if they do that stuff, and the Jaguars keep scoring, and you're having drives where you're fumbling or getting sacked because Braxton Jones can't handle Trayvon Walker, or because you get pre-snap penalties and you keep getting back into second 15, third 15, stuff like that. It's good. I'm telling you guys, this could be a very dangerous game for the Bears. They have to protect Caleb Williams, and they have to establish at least a tiny little bit of a run game to keep those guys off of Caleb Williams. If they start sending everybody because they're like, he's just going to pass it, he's just passing it, send everybody. The Bears' offensive line is not good. I know they played well last week, guys, but they're not a good offensive line overall. And like I said, Trayvon Walker looks like he should have been the first pick in the 2022 draft, which he was. You gotta send him some help. Send Braxton Jones some help because he's going to eat Braxton Jones alive if you leave him over there by himself. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. And look here, I don't know if y'all paid attention, but Shane Waldron has been pretty good lately against the blitz. We've been picking that thing up pretty well. Hopefully that continues, and I think that no huddle helps against the blitz too.
Yeah, and to your point, Darius, Caleb Williams is 29 for 50 for 288, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick against the blitz this year. So he from week 1 to week 5, I expect more evolution of his game this week. I mean, I'm happy as a pig in shit because the Bears. We finally got a quarterback, man. Just watching this guy grow by the quarter, it's like, oh my God, I've waited my whole life for this. I'm 45 for Christ's sake. I've never seen it.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but at this point in the season, he's actually the thing on the Bears I am least worried about. It's the secondary,
100%.
the quarterback, and the wide receivers. That's it. Everything else, the offensive line, defensive line, even the running back room has question marks. I mean, are they going to, like Sean, like you said in the offseason, are they going to give up on Roshan Johnson and go get another different style of running back? Every position has question marks. Caleb Williams has none to me. He's 100% obviously the future of this franchise. He's about to destroy Mitchell Trubisky's rookie passing record. I mean, absolutely destroy it. You might beat it in 2 weeks, dude. I mean,
he needs 1,100 yards. That would, if he beat it in 2 weeks, that would be freaking impressive.
Hey man, if Jacksonville, if we go over there and Jacksonville looks like Jacksonville has the first 3 weeks of the season, their defense, then he could very well throw for 400 or 500 yards. I mean,
he could throw a 400 burger.
He's capable of doing that. The Bear. I want to, Sean. I hope everything in the world. I hope I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, and Caleb Williams comes out and tears this defense apart, and the Bears don't have that hiccup like they always do every season, where you're like, why are you playing down to your competition? Crush them. If they change this culture and Caleb Williams goes out there and throws for 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, they're going to absolutely destroy the Jaguars, and it'll be the happiest I've ever been to be wrong about anything in my entire life. You do not let Tank Bigsby run for 8 yards of carry, or it's going to be a long day. You have to shut him down.
Yeah,
you have to. You have to, man.
Kyle, I will tell you this: if that happens, I'm gonna have a good fantasy day because I'm out of running backs and I got running backs on bye, so I'm starting Tank Bigsby by default.
I don't think that's a bad play, Sean. I think he's going to have a good day for you. I think he's probably a stardom. If you look at most websites like CBS, NFL.com, I guarantee you, Tank Bigsby's a stardom on every single one of them.
He's due for a big day. NTM with that shoulder, man. I'm a little nervous about what he's going to actually bring, man. He might. I haven't seen that he's going to miss the game. I saw he had a limited practice today, but man, if we could get, we've caught a lot of breaks. If we can get no Travis Etienne, because we were watching the game together, and when that game started, dude, he looked really good against Indy last week, and then he got popped in the shoulder, and I think he took over and looked amazing.
He looked to me like he was having his best game of the season. That was very unfortunate for Travis Etienne because he's taken a lot of scrutiny for his play in the last couple of years. He was not a first round pick. He's not playing like a first round pick. He needs to be better, but I felt like that was kind of a get right game for him, and then sure enough, that shoulder popped up again. Darius, is there anything else you want to say about this game coming up overseas in London on Sunday at 8:30 a.m. in the morning?
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Hey man, I'm ready, man. I can't wait. It's early in the morning too. Unfortunate thing, I'll be at work, but I'll be tuning in. But as far as the game is concerned, we have to. I wonder if we're going to just stack that box up and just put it in Trevor's hands.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Hey, he will give us some.
Yeah, he's been good at not turning the ball over, but I do think that if they become one-dimensional, if the Bears could somehow stop the run, even if it meant stacking the box and giving up maybe a couple of those big plays, I think then that we would – Trevor Lawrence, we would kill him. Yeah, but I just don't think – I think the Bears, so far this season, they cannot stop the run. And why would we think it's going to change against a team that's good at running the ball? Particularly, the Jaguars are ranked 11th on the season, but the last 2 weeks running the ball, they're probably in the top 5.
Really good.
Since Tank Bigsby has found his way, this team looks a lot better.
The one thing I've learned about the NFL is every year you win a game you're supposed to lose, and you lose a game you're supposed to win. So, Kyle, I hope you're not right on this one because I know you're not picking the Bears to lose, but leaving it close and having that chance at the end of the game to lose, they have the ball. Bears are 4-20.
Guys, at the same time, would it not be awesome to see Caleb Williams get his first, hey, this is 2 minutes left in the game. We're down by 3. You need to go score a touchdown and win this game. Would that not be awesome to see if Caleb Williams did that? I mean, I'm not saying I want the Bears to be in that situation because obviously you want them to blow everybody out. But it would be awesome.
That time's going to come.
Yeah, you're waiting to me every week. You're like, what milestone is Caleb Williams going to reach this week? And so far, he has not disappointed. Every week, he's doing something new that's absolutely amazing. The game he had 300 yards against the Colts, you were like, hey, he had over 300 yards, but he threw it 50 times and he turned the ball over 3 times. And then he does it against the Panthers with no mistakes at all. And you're like, this Caleb Williams he looks like he's pretty good.
I think the Bears are. I think they're going to surprise some people. I don't know. I came in, and I remember when we talked about this, when we did our preseason predictions, I did pick the Bears originally to lose this game, but I flipped it and picked them to win. So I was kind of wishy-washy on it as well because I was thinking like you were thinking about this is their home away from home and wonky things happen. But I think I probably would have taken the Bears to lose this game if they left on Thursday. But to Darius's point earlier, they got on that plane. They got out of here right away. They got acclimated. They got adjusted. They made it a normal week in London. So I kind of really like that fact. And I think they'll be prepared. You know, we got Caleb Williams at the helm, dude. This guy wants to be great. And, I mean, he's got another great secondary to be great against. So I like the Bears this week, man.
Yeah,
I do.
And hopefully we get out of this thing clean, man. No more.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I mean, you guys. It's too soon to say, and I don't want to jinx us because we've been so scarred for so many years. But I feel the culture changing. You know, it's like, you guys remember watching Bears games? The last 20 quarterbacks we've had, they step back, they throw a 50-yard bomb, and before they show where the ball lands, you're like, oh God, oh no, not again. Now when Caleb does it, I'm like, oh, something amazing is about to happen. This is going to be like a 50-yard touchdown to DJ Moore, and it is. You know, he was struggling with that deep ball early in the season, but these last two games, man, he looks like he's mighty comfortable back there. The offensive line just has to keep him on his feet. Ultimately, guys, I think the Bears will win this game, and they should. Darius, you got anything else, man?
We're getting better and better in the red zone too. You know, usually in the past, you know, we'll get down to the red zone and end up kicking field goals, but we're finally pushing that thing in the end zone, man. And it feels wonderful, man. You know, that used to irk my nerves, getting all the way down there and having to settle for 3, man. That used to piss me off. But we're getting better and better, man. Things are improving week by week, but you know, we're gonna take this thing, you know, week by week. We're gonna stay level, stay even. You know what I'm saying? Get excited when it's necessary, man, and just, you know, cheer these guys on, man.
Hey, man, the Bears are overseas. We got TC World of Wonders. It's your headquarters for all your Chicago sports jerseys, sports memorabilia. Go to tcworldofwonders.com. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy, River Street Tavern, Bridges Scoreboard. Who am I missing, guys? Serendipity Ice Cream, Elite Icons. We appreciate all your support. Friends, as you watch this show in your car or wherever you are, just remember to hit that like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys so much for taking time out and listening to 3 silly guys talk football. So I really, really appreciate it. Anything else you guys want to add before we put a bow on this thing?
Nope, this will be the last time I'm talking to y'all. So bear down, man. Let's go kick some ass. I hope the Bears, if they come out of here 4-2, we're talking about a totally different season, guys. This could be a fun season to watch for the Chicago Bears.
Indeed, we're going into the bye after that, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we go into the bye. I'd love to go into this bye 4-2, baby. That would be a great, sweet week off, wouldn't it?
Yes, indeed. Get some guys some time to heal up, man.
Yeah, Brisker should be back. You know, one more thing on Brisker before we do get out of here. That's his 3rd concussion in 3 years. He plays with violent tendencies.
Yeah.
I really hope because you guys all remember, you know, I don't know how old you are, Darius, but you guys probably remember Mike Brown. Probably one of the greatest safeties in Bears history. We couldn't stay on the damn field, but when he was, electric things happened.
Yeah.
This is starting to be another Mike Brown, man.
And Sean, I'm not saying the two are tied together, and I'm hoping it's just because he was a rookie and he was young and he was struggling, his 2nd year and struggling. But it seems like after he got the concussion the last time, he wasn't playing as well. So hopefully there's no like lingering effects from this. It's you never want to see players get knocked out in the NFL. We've come to find out in recent years, obviously, guys, that concussions are very dangerous. It sucks to see Jaquan Brisker have to go through that the same as Tremble. And actually, if you watch that play, guys, Tremble kind of did that to himself. He put his head down low, and you know that Brisker was going for his center mass. He was going for his stomach. But sometimes those plays happen, man. It's a violent game. You
want to know what sucks about that? If Brisker led that way, that would have been a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you, Darius. It's always fun.
Hey, peace, guys, man. Hey, bear down, baby.
We're going to go to 4-2, baby.
Bear down.
Let's roll. Bear down. Thanks, everybody. Until